Good evening. Welcome to the Monday Night Live Real Estate Call-In Show with Coach Mike. I'm your host, Rick Davis. If you don't follow me on Instagram, I urge you to do so at Prime Real Estate Rick. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the great state of Texas, but especially here in our lovely city of Houston, you can reach me directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Rick. As always, it's an honor and a pleasure to be here with you this week, just like it is every Monday evening in the 7 o'clock hour. We have a really exciting show planned, and I hope everyone in the audience takes advantage of all of the great insights, knowledge, and tips that'll be shared on today's episode. As always, my co-host is not only one of the most successful real estate brokers anywhere in the state of Texas, but he is also the co-founder of Brooks and Davis real estate firm. I want to thank him so much for carving some time out of his busy schedule to sit in with us. And I want to welcome to the show. We know him as Coach Mike, but I want to introduce Mr. Michael G. Davis. How are you?
What's going on, Rick? Man, excited to be here. Another Monday Night Live. Man, what is going on, brother?
Oh, man, super exciting, man. You know how it is every Monday night, man, coming off an exciting weekend in real estate, man. So it's always great. I want to make sure everyone in the audience, I invite you to get involved in today's show. Take out your camera phone, hit the record button, and record yourself asking a pertinent and relevant real estate question. Submit your videos to the Monday Night Live Real Estate Call-In and text line at the number you see on the screen. Our staff is always checking out the text line, checking out those videos, and just maybe, Coach Mike will have an opportunity to answer your question live on this week's show. But as always, Coach Mike, man, what's been going on this weekend? What's been going on in the world of Brooks and Davis real estate firm, man? How has just everything been going, brother?
Hey, man, just growing. Shout out, signed up 2 more agents this week, so very excited about that. Yeah,
welcome to the fam, baby.
Welcome to the fam. So excited to we're growing. As most of you all know, we brought in our 2 new offices, so we're expanding throughout the city. Had some great events. We did a condominium contracts training on last Wednesday. That was really nice. A number of our agents showed up for that. Rarely do people go through some of the documents or the contracts that new agents, so they can understand what to put where. So we did that. And then one of our affiliates out of Dallas, Mr. Kevin Ards, had an insurance training on last Thursday. So, just staying busy, educating the marketplace, continuing to develop agents. That's what we do, brother.
Hey, man, I always like to commend you on the value added that Brooks and Davis brings to all of their affiliates, all of their agents, and all of their business partners as far as keeping everyone up to date on what's going on in the real estate market. And as far as those trainings, brother, man, I'm sure you understand, but new agents don't understand how valuable those can be. Contracts are always changing. Rules and guidelines are always changing. And once again, you can get that continuing education credit, man. So get to kill a couple birds with the same stone.
Absolutely.
Hey, man, Coach, man, shout out to everyone who's checking us out on Facebook. Shout out to everybody who checks us out on YouTube. As always, man, please do not hesitate. Get involved, share, comment, and like. Hey, man, Coach, we have some really exciting and in-depth real estate questions in the tuck for you this week, man. I know.
I can't wait, man. I can't wait to see what the people have for us this week, Rick. I always look forward to Monday Nights Live.
All right, man. Let's get to question number 1 then, Coach.
Hello, Brooks and Davis family. This is Terry Petrie from Summerwood, Texas. My question is, you have a husband and wife that's going through a divorce. The wife is wanting the home. But the husband is telling him, you have to buy me out. However, the husband's income, he's in a high tax bracket and he don't want the excessive income. How can he sell the home to his wife and not have to claim that as income?
Well, that's interesting. Yeah, that's a very interesting scenario. first thing, let me start off by saying, Rick, you in that kind of situation, you definitely need to consult a CPA, right? A certified public accountant. That husband really needs to talk to his CPA to kind of get the facts about what he needs to do. All I can really do is just kind of speak to, based on my experience. So close to 20 years in this business, over 1,000 transactions under my belt. If I were to see a situation like that, to be honest with you, Rick, he's gonna have to. I mean, I can't foresee him not, unless it was their homestead. And you know, with a homesteaded property, you don't pay capital gains tax, you know, of a certain amount. So unless it was their homestead, other than that, if it was a rental home or an investment home or something like that, and it realizes some kind of profits, then you know, he may get taxed. Now, with it going through a divorce, meaning that the courts have determined, or they've decided who gets what, then under those circumstances, if the spouse that's keeping a home has to buy the other spouse out, again, I feel like it probably would still fall the same guise of if it's a homesteaded property, then there's no capital gains tax being paid on it regardless. So it shouldn't be any issues, any challenges as far as that being reflected on that person's tax return. But again, I'm not a CPA. Make sure you consult somebody that's certified, somebody that's licensed in that instance, for the true information of how they need to move forward with an instance like that. But that's a very tough and complicated situation, I would say, Rick.
No, and I mean, I think your advice was spot on. I think in that type of scenario, as a real estate professional, the first thing we can do for our clients is to let them know, especially someone who is in that type of tax bracket, who's dealing with those type of financial implications, is to reach out to their CPA, their accountant, or who handles their taxes on a regular basis, because those are the same people that when it's tax time, that's going to be communicating with the IRS if necessary. So we want to keep them abreast of everything that's going on, because it's not like we're doing anything that's out of bounds. We just want to make sure, as far as the line of communication, everyone is in communication so that we can best serve what our clients' needs are on the real estate end, and the accountant can best serve what their needs are on that financial end. So I agree totally.
Absolutely. And you know, the one thing I want to chime in on is, and this is a little bit of extra advice that I want to give to real estate professionals. Become okay with not knowing the answer to stuff, right? A lot of times you're going to get those kind of questions from your clients, those legal questions, those financial questions. You know, sometimes even as it relates to repairs and things that need to be done to the house, that just may be right outside of your competency level. Right. Be okay with telling your client, hey, you know, I really don't know the answer to that. You know, let me recommend that you speak to this kind of person. Let me recommend that you speak with this person or that person. Versus, I've seen a lot of times realtors try to come up with a question. Like they don't want to be seen in the eyes of their client as if they don't know the answer to everything. So, and what it does is it puts themselves as well as the client in a worse situation, because you're giving them information that's not right, that's not accurate, that's not based off of your level of expertise. So become okay with being a facilitator in certain instances. Know what you know, speak on what you know and what you're versed in, and then refer or give advice in other areas that are outside of your knowledge base.
No, I agree totally, because I think your clients will really be impressed with the fact that you can be a connector as opposed to being someone who's shooting from the hip and giving half truths and whole lies. So definitely, Coach, I would urge everyone in the audience to take your advice and heed those warnings, because you don't want to be caught on the wrong side of something like that.
Right. Absolutely.
Outstanding, Coach, man. If you're ready for question number 2, I know we definitely got another one ready for you.
Come on, man. Let's go. Got one cocked, ready to load.
Let's go. Question number 2 it is.
This is Tempest. I'm in Bel Air, southwest side of Houston, and I have a question for Coach Mike. So with dealing with a client as a buyer and a seller, how does that transaction take place and the intricacies of it?
Okay. So you as it sounds like what she's saying is that you put yourself in a position as a real estate professional. If you represent that seller, you can sign that listing agreement. And that buyer comes along and they're not represented by a realtor. Looks like you put yourself in line to get that whole 6% in most instances, right? I feel different brokerages have their different philosophies as it relates to that. I know there are some brokerage firms that if you represent the seller, they won't allow you to work the other side of the deal. They'll require you to give that buyer client an agent to represent or to work with. I know at Brooks and Davis that's not the case, because our philosophy is as long as the buyer has been disclosed the right to representation, because there's some people that just don't want it and they don't feel like they need it. And if they make that decision, you can't force them to take something or to work with somebody that they don't want to work with. So as long as it's been disclosed to the buyer who you're representing, as well as their right to representation, and if they still choose to allow you to facilitate the transaction, then that can be done. And I use that word facilitate, Rick, because there are a lot of agents that feel like if a buyer comes and they don't have an agent, then you automatically are representing the buyer and the seller. And that's not the case. What creates representation is whatever employment agreement that you sign. It's got to be in black and white. It's got to be written. I know I was having this conversation with one of our agents during a coaching session last week, and she's in a different state. And I guess in that state, representation can be implied. Now, I know in Texas, representation can't be implied. It's got to be in writing. If it ain't in writing, it don't exist. And so that's what I was telling her. So it's not, you only represent someone if you have something in writing, some type of agreement, buyer's rep agreement, listing agreement, as long as you have something in writing. So in the case that is being brought up here, if you have a listing agreement with the seller, then that's who you represent, right? And as long as you don't sign a buyer's rep agreement with that buyer, then there is no dual agency, there is no intermediary, there is none of that. As long as there's no buyer's rep agreement signed between you and that buyer. Now, does that mean that you can't facilitate the contract? Of course you can. You just can't, whatever you do, it has to be based on the best interest of the seller, period. So whatever you do, you just got to make sure that you don't put your client in a bad situation in the eyes of the buyer. As far as helping the buyer understand the documents, as far as letting them know how to fill out the paperwork, even assisting them with whatever questions they have with the lender. Like none of that impedes with your level of representation for your client. None of that is putting your client in a negative or a vulnerable situation. The only thing that you cannot do is reveal any information that's going to put your client in a vulnerable situation. As long as you don't do that, then you can facilitate a contract all day long. I did them all the time, Rick, and was unapologetic about it, because if I've negotiated a certain commission with my seller, and now the agent doesn't have representation, then guess what I got to do? Although I don't represent the buyer, I still have to do double work, because the amount of work that buyer's agent was going to do for their client, now I got to do that. I got to facilitate that. So, because there are some sellers that'll feel like, well, if they have a buyer's agent, then I'll pay 6%. But if they don't have a buyer's agent, then I'll just pay 3%. As if they don't understand, you do double the work without the other agent. So that getting that full commission is warranted anyway. And guess what? That's in the best interest for the seller, that you facilitate and that you work with that buyer's agent. I mean, that buyer. Because if nobody's assisting them, nobody's helping them, then how are we ever going to get to the closing table? How is the seller ever going to get what he wants, which is getting the property sold and getting a check in his pocket? So it can be done. The biggest thing is don't get mixed up on what representation is and what representation is not. If there's not anything in writing with the buyer client that comes to purchase the property, then you do not represent them. Yes, they do the contract. You're on the contract as the agent, but you're going to be on the contract as the agent solely representing the seller. And then now at that point, you can just help that buyer with the transaction, any questions that they have, as long as nothing that they ask you or anything that you tell them jeopardizes the position of the seller. You're covered, and you can help get the deal done.
And that's great advice from that standpoint, because sometimes when you are doing listings, open houses, you have people who may come in to the open house to view the property who may not necessarily have been brought in by an agent. So from that standpoint, I can understand that advice totally. And this is just another aspect of that same type of scenario. But what advice would you give for those agents who have a new listing? They're selling a home for a client, but their client would like to list it on a contingent basis, meaning they need the proceeds from selling that home before they can buy another home. And they want to let the homes that they're looking for know that that's the scenario that they're outlining for them in the deal.
Absolutely. Yeah. So, in the industry, we call that contingency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Buying a home contingent on the sale of another home. Now, my advice, right? But everybody's situation is different,
Mm-hmm.
right? But my advice in that situation would be sell your house first, find somewhere that you can stay in, in the meantime, whether that's with a family member, maybe you want to do a 6-month lease, find something in between time first, and then go and try to purchase a home. Now, the reason that I give that recommendation is because, first of all, the process is cumbersome. It's frustrating. It's, just being on one side, just doing one of them is frustrating. There's a lot of variables that come in from out of nowhere that you're not expected. And it creates a very stressful situation for the client. So to double that up and try to do 2 of them at the same time, the seller side and the buyer side, and try to get it to match up perfectly, man, that's really putting your client in a kind of environment and in a state that you really don't want them to experience. So that's why I give that recommendation. That's one reason I give that recommendation. Another reason I give that recommendation is because when you have a contingent, especially when you're in a competitive market, like we've been seeing some very competitive markets.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in a competitive market as a buyer and you submitting a contract that's contingent on the sale of your home, that makes your offer way less competitive. I mean, way less competitive. So if you're trying to compete on price, you're trying to compete on earnest money, or time frame, or closing, you come in there with an offer that's contingent on the sale of another property, that makes your offer way less competitive if you're competing against, even if it's not a cash deal or a higher deal. If it's just somebody that's willing to pay less, but they don't have a contingent property, they have more of a guarantee because they don't have another property that they have to liquidate first. So that's another reason why I would recommend sell the first house first, focus on that transaction, right? Get whatever monies that you're going to get from the sale of that property. Now, go find you a place real quick. Stay within, if you got somebody that you can live with, that's ideal, because it's going to be temporary. Live with them for a couple of months, while you're doing your home search. That's best case scenario. Worst case scenario, if you got to do a 6-month rental, hey, pay it all up. Pay it all up for 6 months. You ain't got to worry about paying your mortgage. Your rent. Just pay it all up from the proceeds from the sale of the house, and then take your time. Go out there, put yourself in the best position to purchase your next home, and put you in a good spot. So that's how I would answer that question, Rick.
No, thank you so much for being so for elaborating and being so detailed in your answer, because a lot of times, especially with contingencies, especially for new agents, when it's their first time handling a situation like that, it can seem like a real delicate balancing act. So for those in the audience who are dealing with buyers, and they found a home, they submitted an offer, the offer has been accepted, but the seller wants a lease back. Could you go over what a lease back is for those new agents who are just running into that for the first time, especially considering that we're talking about contingencies and people selling homes?
Yeah, absolutely, Rick. So the lease back piece is where the seller needs the monies or the profit from the seller of the home. They need that cash to do something. Because there are some times where if the seller does go through the process, right, and they do look for both houses at the same time, they get both of them under contract, but to close on the purchase of the home, they need that money that there's going to be made from the sale. They actually need that physical liquid cash to be able to close on the purchase. And without having access to that liquid cash, then they can't close on the purchase. So what they may do is they may ask for a lease back for maybe a week or so, to where they'll close on the property, right? Now they have that cash, but they can't move out of the property because they haven't closed on the new house. So because they can't close on the new property yet, they'll ask for that lease back, rent the house from the buyer for about a week, right? Now they have the money that they need, and now they can go close on the new house. And once they close on the new house, now they can move out of the old house and move into the new house. So that's I mean, leasebacks are used for a multitude of reasons, but that's one of those reasons that leasebacks are used as well when a seller runs into a situation that they need the money from the seller of the property to purchase the new property.
No, and I just wanted to make sure I brought that up because the agent that submitted that question, I think that's a question that is so pertinent right now and that is on so many people's radar. And one of the best things about this Monday Night Live call-in show is that I think you do a great job, Coach, of being able to touch on subjects that are right now so absolutely positively at the forefront of what everybody's going through in the market, that I think they can take this knowledge and implement it into their real estate practice today.
Absolutely.
And if there have been challenges they're working through, they can use this as kind of like a roadmap to get through it. And if you haven't run into something like this yet, please remember what Coach Mike is talking about, because you will in the very near future, because especially here in Houston, the market is just so hot right now that like buying, selling, and it's a great thing about being in Houston is that the market is just always so active right now.
That's right, Rick. That's right.
Hey, Coach, man, on the text line, we have a really, really cool text question that came in. And I want to make sure we get to this question because on the surface it can seem like a pretty foundation, basic, run-of-the-mill start of real estate training question. But these are the kind of things that people talk about on Twitter. They may talk about in conversation. And if you wouldn't mind, I want to ask you this particular question, and this comes from our text line. And they want to know, Coach Mike, would you consider buying a home an asset or a liability?
Oh, okay.
That's deep. Right.
That is pretty deep. And I guess you do have conflicting philosophies as it relates to that. Depends on who you're talking to.
Exactly.
So if you are part of the Ramsey camp, Dave Ramsey camp, he definitely considers it an asset. You know, he encourages you to pay your mortgage off, and then you have that asset that's on the asset side of things. But if you're on the rich dad, poor dad, you know, Mr. Kiyosaki camp, then he considers it a liability. So, you know, what say me, right? You know, which side of the fence am I on? So, I don't know, man. I think I waver between the two sometimes. Like sometimes I feel like it's a liability, and then sometimes I feel like it's an asset. You know, when you look at the level of appreciation that can be made, like the level of wealth that can be made, although you're not generating income because you're paying the mortgage, right? It's an expense. It's a bill that you're paying. But you're able to realize revenue and gains through the appreciation. So, you know, a person could see that as an asset. Now, if you're not appreciating, like if your house is not growing in value, then it's not an asset, because
Right.
you're paying into it, you're paying your mortgage, you're paying it down, you're paying interest, but you're not realizing any gains through the appreciation of the home. Then it really isn't an asset. At that point, it would solely be a liability, unless you are using it as a income generating stream. So say you have purchased a home and it's not appreciating, but the tenant that's in the property is the one that's paying the mortgage down.
Right.
And they may be paying more than what the mortgage costs. So if they're paying more than what the mortgage is costing you, so now you've generated some cash flow, right? Even though it's not appreciating, you've generated some cash flow that is now a stream of income. Well, that's definitely an asset,
Right.
That's generating revenue and income. But I think most of I don't think there's any debate as it relates to that being an asset, that having that kind of vehicle. But I think it really comes with, if you live in your house, is that an asset, or is that like owning a home that you live in? Is that an asset? Is that a liability? In my opinion, Rick, whether it's an asset or a liability, regardless of which side of the fence that you're on, owning a home, buying a home is a good thing. It's a great thing to do, right?
Right.
It's a great, even if you just solely see it as a savings account, right? To where you're paying into the savings account every month. It's the place that you live. You're gonna have to pay for somewhere to live anyway. So even if you just see it as a bucket, a good savings account bucket for you to pour into on a monthly, on an annual basis, where your money rests. Buying a home is a great thing to do. It's a great thing, a great vehicle to take advantage of, especially if you're looking to build wealth. I know there are certain circumstances where you can buy a home and it doesn't appreciate. Matter of fact, it may depreciate, but for the most part, it's going to appreciate. For the most part, you're going to be able to realize some equity, and you're going to see some major growth as it relates to your wealth in purchasing a home. So whether asset, liability, it doesn't matter. You need to do it. It's a great thing, great vehicle to take advantage of.
No, absolutely, because that advice, the great thing about it is that you gave people perspective from each side of the fence. And I think what a lot of our audience can take from that is, depending upon type of property, area, and use, determines if it is a huge asset or a smaller asset. Right. If it's a huge liability or no liability. So as far as what you decide to invest in, what type of product and where, as always, Coach Mike and myself would ask that you all reach out to a professional real estate agent or a realtor, so that you can get some of these questions answered and get some wholehearted advice from someone in the industry who can help to direct you in a way where everything that you have as a goal financially can be achieved through good decisions in purchasing quality properties in great areas. So thank you so much, Coach.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
We're always at the part of the show, Coach, where we invite everyone in the real estate community, students, those that hope to be in real estate, those that are aspiring realtors. Could you please, Coach, invite them to reach out to you, schedule a consultation to learn more about Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm, and share with the audience what we have going on at the brokerage this week?
Absolutely. So we got another busy week. On Tuesdays, we go live at 12:30 and at 2:30. At 12:30, we do our Real to Life podcast. Our guest tomorrow is Mr. Reginald Pettis, who's one of our affiliate members. So we're going to be interviewing him. That's tomorrow at 12:30. We're going to be going live on our Facebook business page and our YouTube channel. And then at 2:30, we're going to be going live again, Mastermind Through Tough Times. Look, if you guys aren't jumping on at that time, you're missing out on some great fun.
Absolutely.
That myself and our super producer, Jess and Margaret, we come together at 2:30 tomorrow. We're going to be talking about, will Taylor Swift create an NFT for her new Red album? So we're going to be talking about that on tomorrow. So that's at 2:30. And then we're also doing our town hall meeting. We're doing our quarterly town hall meeting. It's a great opportunity for everybody in our ecosystem. That includes our Brooks & Davis agents. That includes our affiliates and that also includes our fans. So we invite you to come on board, learn about some of the new things that we have coming down the pipeline, celebrate us with some of the accomplishments that we've made this last quarter. We'll get an idea of who are the top producing agents and their level of production, as well as get reminded of some of the great programming that we have in that really separates us apart as a brokerage firm. So we're doing that tomorrow, Tuesday at 5:30. And that's going to be virtual and as well as in person. Make sure you RSVP for any of these events so you can reserve your seat. Wednesday, we're doing a lunch and learn with a vendor. We're going to be talking about vendor relationships every realtor should have. That's going to be brought to us by another one of our insurance partners. He's going to be talking about vendor relationships. We're going to be doing that Wednesday at 12, and then Thursday at 12, we're going to be doing a part 2 of the future of affordable home ownership. So we're going to be bringing in an individual from Amegy Bank going to speak to the Community Land Trust, which is another alternative. We talked about the land bank last week. Now we're going to be looking at the Houston Land Trust this week. So it's a great, tool that realtors can utilize to help with those clients that need some assistance in purchasing a home the way that home prices are moving in the city of Houston. So we're going to be doing that Thursday at 12, and then we're going to be doing a happy hour to be determined. We ain't figured out where it's going to be yet, and we're still looking for a sponsor, but that's going to be this Thursday at 3:30. Be on the lookout. Make sure you go to our Facebook business page so you'll be able to see exactly where that's going to be. And then finally, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, we're bringing back our pre-home buyer sessions. So that's going to be at our coaching and training center. And that's where give us about 45 minutes. If you're thinking about buying a home, you want to really get educated, understand each part. You'll see that the lender will be there. The credit person will be there. We'll talk about debt reduction. We'll also talk about the role of the realtor. All of that's going to be encompassing. So that's going to be on Saturday, November 6th at 11 a.m. So like I said, Rick, we got a lot of busy week.
Oh, no, absolutely. And if you're in the audience and you didn't catch all of that, don't worry about it, because it's always a lot going on at Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm. And I want to urge everyone in the audience to check me out this Thursday on the Prime Real Estate Network podcast, where myself and the other co-founder of Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm, Mr. Larry Brooks, will speak for 30 minutes about all types of topics in respective of the real estate community here in Houston and in the great state of Texas at large. And of course, we always talk about everything that's going on at Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm. You can follow us on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Network. I urge everyone to subscribe to the Prime Real Estate Network channel on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe, man. We appreciate all the love that we've been getting. And Coach, is there anything else you want to say, anyone, before we sign off this week for Monday Night Live?
Hey, you know what? Final thing, Rick. If you are in the process of getting your real estate license or you're considering a change in a brokerage, I encourage you. We're going to put a link up, and I encourage you to schedule an in-person company introduction with me so you can learn more about how we train, educate, and support our agents. Now that we have our 2 new offices, if you're on the west side of Houston, you can meet us at our west office. If you're in Katy, Energy Corridor, West Houston, meet us in our Katy office. If you're on north, maybe the Woodlands, near the Woodlands, Conroe, Spring, you can meet us at our north office, or you can always meet us at our corporate office, which is near NRG. If you want to do it in person, or you can do it virtually, where you can meet us anywhere, right? We'll meet with you, and just so you can learn how serious we are about our agent support program, which includes everything from one-on-one coaching, mentorship, and for you who are not licensed yet, our affiliate membership, which allows you to get exposure to what you're going to be doing practically as a real estate professional, as well as get some support and assistance to help you get through the licensing classes and passing the exam. So again, I encourage you, go to the link, schedule that one-on-one company introduction with me today. And with that being said, that's all I got, Rick.
Hey, man, I want to thank everyone, man, in the audience for checking us out. I want to thank Coach Mike for carving some time out of his busy schedule to sit in with us, man. On behalf of myself, Rick Davis at Prime Real Estate, Rick and Coach Mike, I want to thank everyone for checking us out. In the meantime, in between time, if you need anything, we're only a text, inbox, or DM message away. And until next Monday night, everyone, be safe and be blessed.